Vice President Joe Biden has gone on the record, well, he was speaking to a group of evangelical leaders, to say that he thinks there should be no reason why we shouldn't tax violent media, specifically violent video games. He also went on to say that he would like to see a comprehensive study done regarding the impact of violent games and movies on young people. And I feel like I'm beating a dead horse when I say that there were studies and they found that it does not lead to violent behavior. People like to say, oh yes it does, it leads to aggression. Aggression is not violence. Aggression is not killing people. Aggression could be verbal. And I just wanted to point that out right now. But I feel like we've been fighting this forever, and Tim, you look so upset.
No, wait till you finish. You've got a lot to say here.
No, go.
You've got a lot of rant.
Yeah, well, the subject makes me incredibly angry. Because
as it should.
We've seen more and more credible research coming out that says there isn't a link that violent video games or violent media directly causes violence in young people or people with going on gun rampages. I think this is a popular thing to point fingers to because it's something that games are played by young people. Games are not well understood by politicians or by parents. Let's just blame the games for all of our trouble, and getting rid of these games will fix everything. Except, no, you're scapegoating an industry, you're ignoring a big problem.
They don't want to see those studies. Mm-hmm. They want to see the studies that will prove what they already think. Unfortunately, those studies don't exist. So yeah, there's no legal reason that you can't tax violent media, mm-hmm. but you shouldn't, because you shouldn't.
Well, not to mention games are protected by the First Amendment. They count as freedom of speech, or they count as free speech under 2011's Brown versus EMA, which decided that fact. And I think it's ridiculous to continue blaming them for violent behavior. What I want to ask is, how would taxing the violent media keep the violent media out of the hands of young people?
It wouldn't. It would make it so there's less violent media. We've already seen this with movie age restrictions. Mm-hmm. So you make it really hard to get NC-17 movies in theaters, mm-hmm. and then they stop making NC-17 movies because it's not worth it. Mm-hmm. So you tax these violent video games, making them more expensive to produce, making developers and publishers no longer produce them. This is just a loophole around getting rid of the freedom of speech. It doesn't say you can't make violent video games, it just makes it a lot less profitable to make violent video games, so then companies don't do it anymore.
I think they will continue to do it, and I think it will cause them to lose money because they'll pirate for them more. It's just the people who are going to play these games are going to continue playing them. I mean,
so if a company loses enough money because people pirate their violent video games, they'll stop making them. This is a way around the law.
I know.
That's all it is. So someone has decided, someone with power, maybe it's Joe Biden, maybe it's a bunch of people in Joe Biden's ear, that mm-hmm. violent video games are a problem that needs to be stopped. We can't make them stop making violent video games, so we'll tax them. Well, if there's no proof of that study, we'll find a study.
No, they said, I want to see a comprehensive study that will show me this. How many years have we gone where we could have had one? It's just not going to happen. And you're right, this is a way around that rule. Just hollowing it out, per se, a different route.
And I hate to see this from Joe Biden, because I like Joe Biden. He's from Pennsylvania, the Delaware area, and I like Joe Biden. I'll just go ahead and say it. And yeah, he is. He's very level-headed. He doesn't take stuff from nobody. He doesn't put up with malarkey. And here he is with this old routine that we've heard 100 times with no basis in reality.
I feel like we need to have a lobby for the video game industry that's as powerful as.
Good luck with that.
This is not fair. This is 100% not fair, and you're hurting people who are in no way contributing to this problem.
Well, you're hurting a demographic that doesn't vote a lot.
What, young people?
Young people.
Well, I think they think that gamers are, they're undesirables.
Young, deviant miscreants.
They're deviants. We don't care what they think, but it's a huge fucking industry. There are a lot of people who game who aren't socially horrible people like they assume.
this is a demographic that doesn't have a wealthy stake in our government. Well, we have a problem with violence in our schools. Well, we can go after guns. Oh no, the NRA is really big. They have a lot of wealthy influence in our government. Well, you can go after education. We don't want to spend more money on education. That's really not what we're interested in. What if we just take violent media away from kids? I'm sure they'll behave that way.
Well, I mentioned this on the main show. I think this may be kind of reactionary in response to the Senate assault weapons ban failing. And I feel like politicians want to get their name on some kind of legislation that looks like they're appearing to stop the problem, whether or not it stops the problem at all or not. I mean, Senator Dianne Feinstein did this recently before too. She was heavy into saying this is the NRA's fault. We need to look at gun control. We need to look at background checks, and then she just kind of changed her tune after a while. Well, maybe it is the games. Maybe it is the games, and I feel like so much is being put ahead of common sense and research, credible research.
It's just so tired. It's such a tired argument.
I know.
To me at this
I'm
point.
tired of doing it too. I'm tired of getting mad and worked up every time and huffing and puffing and not going anywhere. But this should not happen. This in no way should happen.
The thing that bugs me the most is Joe Biden is essentially saying that parents are not good enough parents to raise their kids in this kind of environment and have them not become homicidal maniacs.
See, that's idiotic.
That kids
too.
are not smart enough to tell the difference between reality and fantasy.
And parents are not smart enough to not buy games.
And we need to make this decision for these people. We need to tax this so that it happens less. And, it's just insulting to everyone involved.
Yeah.
That's not a can you want to open.
I don't think that's quite what it is, Amir.
Kim, how can people get involved to fight this?
Burn every... No.
It's my idea. And you didn't like it last time.
Absolutely not. Well, the EFF, the Electronic Frontier Foundation, is a great resource in collecting petitions and signatures against this. They will also be an educational resource for us to actually go and look at the studies ourselves. I implore you to go look at that. I implore you to contact your representative on this matter.
And Joe Biden.
But not Leland Yee.
Who's that?
He was blaming violent video games in the past. He was in Brown versus the EMA and lost. And I've gotten in a fight with his aide on Twitter many times.